one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
This story comes to us from AP News, where Los Angeles has agreed to pay $300,000 to cover the legal fees of a local journalist and a technology watchdog group that had been sued by the city last year for publishing photos of names and photographs of hundreds of undercover officers obtained through a public records request, the journalist's attorney said. Now, the photos release prompted huge backlash from Los Angeles police officers and their union, alleging that it compromised safety for those working undercover, boo-hoo, and in other sensitive assignments such as investigations involving gangs, drugs, and sex traffickers. The city attorney's subsequent lawsuit against Ben Camacho, a journalist for the progressive news outlet Knock LA at the time, and the watchdog group Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. It drew condemnation from media rights experts and a coalition of newsrooms, including the Associated Press, as an attack on free speech and press freedoms. So just to kind of let you know what I said is, once they filed the lawsuit against Ben Camacho, all these news outlets and news agencies said, hold on a minute. They're publishing something under free press. It was released to them. They did the FOIA, all that. You released it to them. They published it, and now you're suing them? That's what they're saying. They followed they exercised their right to free press, and now they're being sued for exercising their right to free press. First Amendment, right? Camacho had submitted a public records request, FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, for the LAPD's roster, roughly 9,300 officers, as well as their photographs and information such as name, ethnicity, rank, date of hire, badge number, and division or bureau. City officials had not sought an exemption for the undercover officers and inadvertently released their photos and personal data to Ben Camacho. The watchdog group used the records to make an online searchable database called Watch the Watchers. The city attorney's office filed its lawsuit in April of 2023 in an attempt to claw back the photographs, which had already been publicly posted. The settlement came after the city approached Camacho and Stop LAPD Spying to go into mediation over the case, said Camacho's lawyer, Susan Seeger. She said it shows that the city is acknowledging that when the city gives a reporter some documents, they can't turn around and sue the reporter and demand they give them back after the fact. You know, that's your fault, right? Seeger said if the city had won the lawsuit, any government agency would be suing reporters right and left to get back documents they claim they didn't mean to give to them. The city attorney's office did not immediately respond to an email requesting comment. The LAPD declined to comment, of course. And, quote, this case was never just about photographs, says the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. They say it was about the public's relationship to state violence. The city will also have to drop demands for Camacho and Stop LAPD Spying to return the images of officers in sensitive roles, to take them off the internet, and to forego publishing them in future, according to the Los Angeles Times. The settlement now goes to the city council and mayor for approval, according to court documents. Quote, this settlement is a win for the public, the First Amendment, and ensures we will continue to have radical transparency within the LAPD, Camacho said. He said that on X, formerly known as Twitter. Camacho still faces a second lawsuit filed by the city attorney's office to force him and Stop LAPD Spying Coalition to pay damages to LAPD officers who sued the city after the photo release. Well, they're not going to win that because they released them. But their demands to get all those back and to have them taken off the internet were denied. Like, no. Too bad. Wah, wah, boo-hoo. Here's your tissue for your issue. They released them. But, you know, and I had a cop in Yucaipa do that to me one day. It was a traffic accident. I'm recording the traffic accident. He walks over to do something. He was in plain clothes, and he goes, "Don't record me. Don't get me on camera." Tough titty, bitty. Don't walk up to my camera if you don't want to be on camera. And that's the thing, too, is these undercover officers, you don't want to be out there. Well, we're undercover, man. You know what undercover is? I don't care what undercover is. I don't, to be honest. You're a law enforcement officer. You're a public official. You work for a governmental institution, whether it's city, county, state, or federal. We want to know what you're doing. Well, I'm undercover. We don't care. Are you undercover? While you're undercover, are you violating people's civil rights undercover and saying, well, it's part of the job? Are you breaking the law undercover? Well, you know. Because it's funny, it's interesting to me, they say that, and I read a book by Joe Pistone. Joe Pistone, or is it Pistone? And he went undercover in the Donnie Brasco operation in New York. And in one of his books, he mentioned that he had to be careful not to commit any felonies because he could be charged for crimes even though he was working undercover as an agent. And so I wonder that too, is how many of these cops commit crimes undercover and go, well, I'm part of the job, and aren't charged. Where this FBI agent wrote in his book, I had to be careful not to commit felonies because I could be charged with a felony. I guess what I'm saying, and it all comes down into a funnel to one particular point, is that whether you're undercover or not, you're a law enforcement officer. And we, the public, want to know who you are and what you're doing. Because there are cops out there who act like children. They act like criminals. They act like bullies. We don't want you in public office. We don't want you serving the public. We want you serving nobody. And that's the point.